and welcome along to another episode of Robin and Jane in the Stalls. This week we're going to take you way back in time to 1905 to be precise, and the fictional village of Anatevka. Do you know what we're talking about? We're talking about a show that's been called one of the greatest musicals of all time. Fiddler on the Roof is back. It's back out on tour, and it arrived in Belfast this week at the Grand Opera House. And Jane, we were there, and I have to admit, before I went in to see this show, I knew two things. I knew one, it was going to be very, very long, and another thing, I thought, I don't know too many songs from this show, so I was slightly worried about seeing it. But after sitting through it all, I am glad I went to see this show last night.
Oh, I'm very glad I went to see it. It makes you think what musicals are really about. Is it the life of a superstar? But quite often it's endings and beginnings, and Follies, which is coming up within our opera. That's going to have an interesting ending and memory piece. But this is about really a struggle for survival. It's a small Jewish society, Orthodox Jewish, in Russia at a very difficult time with the threat of pogroms against them and evictions and so on. And of course, what they do is they cling on to tradition, hence the song, which recurs as a leitmotif right through the show. And they feel that if they hang on to the way things have always been, then change won't affect them. Of course, sadly, they're wrong, as it turns out. But this kind of explains, and it was written in 1964, actually, but it explains the rather antediluvian attitudes towards women. Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. We're talking about arranged marriages for young women. We talk about should women be educated and so on. And the answer is no. The men have the say in absolutely everything. And that seems to strike a false note until you gather why they're clinging on to it, really, and what it means.
Well, coming back to the matchmaker that you mentioned there as well, I was thinking about the whole arranged marriage thing after the show last night, and I would have liked to find out more about the relationships. They kind of skipped that kind of bit of the story, didn't they, really? And I know there was some of it in there.
I don't know. I'm not sure I entirely agree. I mean, I see where you're coming from, but my favourite couple actually wasn't Zeitel, the eldest, and the rather spineless, shy Taylor Mossel. It was actually Hockel and Perchik,
Yes.
the second daughter, and her student socialist boyfriend. Now, I love them, and they had a wonderful dance sequence when they really got together, and I thought that was very charming, and that was repeated later on. I thought you had a sense of his spark and her response to it there, so I think you did get some sort of relationship.
Now, the other thing about this show as well, and we were thinking about this as we were leaving the theatre last night as well, the timing of this show is perfect as well, because even though this was written way back in 1964, it was set a long time before that as well. The themes of what's going on in their world back then are still extremely relevant to what's happening in our world today.
Well, they are, unfortunately, and one thinks of things like Gaza, although I was thinking about this too and reflecting on it. I thought maybe that's to take it slightly out of context, because obviously the society here isn't the same as the government now, taking things out, enacting their own pogrom, essentially. But it does make you think about the Middle East. It does make you think about national identity and about how you survive as a small group, I think. But this is all very serious, and yet it's a very joyful show in the main, isn't it? There's that lovely song, L'chaim, to life, and it certainly has life and high energy, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, the music, I'd forgotten how many great songs there are. I mean, there's more than Matchmaker, and If I Were a Rich Man. There's plenty more really good standout songs in there as well. And actually, the music the whole way through, I loved having the orchestra at the back of the set the whole time playing live. And I thought all the instrumentals and everything, the choreography, the movement in it as well, I mean, it really was amazing.
The movement was brilliant, and when the villagers are under attack, that was very well choreographed. But I also liked the actual fiddler, and we had Roman, and I'm going to mispronounce his surname, Litwinov, I think, fiddling away, and he did that absolutely beautifully. I think it's a show that makes you think, but it's a show that makes you hopeful in the end, because they are heading off to different parts, and we know that the trip to America would probably be a very successful one.
Exactly. Now, one of the standout moments in the show for me is the bit when they do the dream sequence. I thought that was very well constructed and very well done.
Yes, it was. And that was to allow Zeitel to escape from this arranged marriage to the butcher. It was very well done with lots of white and a ghost moving upwards rapidly. So there was a bit of a jump scare there. No, it was brilliantly done. But I thought what was also brilliantly done was the humorous scene between the would-be father-in-law and son-in-law, the elderly butcher, where the Tevye thinks that he's talking about selling his milk cow, and in fact the butcher is talking about marrying his daughter. And he said, would a cow, it would make you feel less lonesome? And he thinks, what's he talking about? It's that, a cow wouldn't work here. And that was very entertaining. That was quite funny. But I think the acting overall was very good. But I have to say, Matthew Woodett as Tevye occasionally lapsed into a slightly Welsh accent. I think he is Welsh, which was unfortunate. But having said that, he was a good presence, and I liked very much Beverly Cline as the matchmaker, Yenta. I thought she was very good, and the wife too, Jodie Jacobs. She was also good. She was a strong character, and the bickering relationship. And when they have the song about "Do I Love You," you're not really sure that she would define it as love, but they've been together a long time, and hey, it works.
It does. Now, the first half of this show is 90 minutes long, even though I have to say it actually didn't feel like 90 minutes. It does actually zip through, doesn't it?
It does zip through. It has speed. I mean, it pauses and lingers lovingly over the songs, as I think it should. But in between, because of choreography, as we said, because of the sheer energy of the performance, all the members of the cast, it does run through at some speed. And no, it didn't seem too long, actually.
Well, already, I mean, the show is doing great business throughout the UK. It's an Olivier Award winner as well, 3 recent Olivier Awards, including Best Musical Revival. So is this one of these shows you think that's going to run and run forever?
Oh, I think it is. I think it will run and run like the really great musicals. I see an audience for it continuing well into the future. Yes, I certainly do. And deservedly, because there is this uplifting sense as well as something serious to chew over. So it's got it all, really.
There was a slightly older audience, I noticed, in the Grand Opera House last night, and it's probably going to be like that for the rest of the week. But I would urge people of all ages to come and see this show.
Oh, I agree. There were one or two families there, and I'm sure children were getting something out of it too, and teenagers. It was an older audience, but I agree, it's something for all ages.
Definitely. Right, time now for us to make up our final decisions on Fiddler on the Roof. And of course, we got to vote using the little fiddles today, Jane. So I have to say, as I said at the start of the podcast, I'm glad that I went to see this show. Thoroughly enjoyed the music, thoroughly enjoyed the performances, and glad I went to see it. So Jane, I'm going to start off by giving this 4 little fiddles.
And I'm going to agree with you, Robin. I'm going to give it 4 little fiddles too. So our fiddlers are in tune.
Brilliant. Well, if you want to catch Fiddler on the Roof at the Grand Opera House, it runs through until Saturday. Some extra seats, I know, have just been released for later on in the week. And the best availability, I've been told, is for tomorrow, for Thursday evening's performance. So try and grab a ticket to catch Fiddler on the Roof. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And if you've seen anything in the theatre that you want to tell us about, get in touch with us over on our social media pages. We'll see you back in the stalls sometime very soon.
Goodbye.